watching Metro Palette, and joining us today is Minnesota artist Terrence Fogarty. Hi, I'm Chris Knutson, and welcome to the show, Metro Palette. Joining us today is a familiar face, Terrence Fogarty.
Hi, Chris. Good to be here.
Hey, welcome back, Terry.
Thank you.
Hey, as usual, you've been really busy here, producing some great stuff here. We got a couple really exciting pieces. We have the 10th year you've been doing art for the Minnesota State High School Boys Hockey Tournament.
Right. As
well as the piece behind you here, Rats on Rainy.
Right. Hockey art. That's hockey unusual.
Art. Yeah. It's your forte. It's your bread and butter.
Yeah, it's what people like in Minnesota.
So let's jump right into this Rats on Rainy piece and kind of tell us how this piece came to be and who commissioned the piece and whatnot.
Well, the Rats piece, Rats on the Rainy, was commissioned by the Wild, and it was for the Fox Sports North promotion Hockey Day in Minnesota, which is a takeoff on the Canadian Hockey Day in Canada, which CBC has been doing for a few years. They played 3 games on the same day, and they broadcast all 3 games. This was beginning of February, and it was a high school game played outside on the Rainy River in Baudette, Minnesota, which is right on the Canadian border, and it was played between Lake of the Woods High School and Johnson High School from the cities here. Second game was the Gophers and Denver Pioneers, and then the Wild rounded out the night playing Dallas. But it was very unique because it was an entire day of broadcasting, which they interspersed stories from old hockey players and coaches, and just kind of captured a lot of the spirit of hockey in the state. And they asked me to do this piece, which would sort of capture the spirit of hockey in Minnesota, and I think this did that to a degree.
Yeah, I think anyone that's spent time on the ice here in Minnesota, in fact, most of us grew up with a hockey stick in our hand and looking through the snowbanks for pucks and stuff, can appreciate this piece.
Yeah.
Like a piece like this, I think when you told me you did this piece, and I'm a novice when it comes to hockey and history in Minnesota, and I said to you, I said, hey, did they do Johnson High School because you went to Johnson High School? And you started laughing about it then. But tell us a little history of why they chose Johnson.
Well, I think because I think they wanted to tie in a city school with a rural school, a little outstate school. The teams play each other on a regular basis anyway, so it made sense. Baudette, the setting up there is great. It's right. There's a little tributary that comes off the Rainy River right into downtown Baudette, and many of the people who live up there played on this bay. Anyway, so it made perfect sense to have the game there, and it's a natural amphitheater setting for spectators. And I think, but getting back to Johnson High School, it's got a great hockey tradition with Herb Brooks going there, and Les Auger and some of the greats who've gone on to play college hockey in the state and around the country. But that, I believe, Ballard, from the former Gopher, who now plays for Phoenix, was an alum of Lake of the Woods High School, and so there's quite a bit of tradition, obviously up in that part of the country with Warroad and Roseau being so close. So it was a natural tie-in.
Yeah, and for the viewers at home, any of Terry's art that we see here, that pretty much everything Terry paints eventually gets made into prints, and or a couple of these pieces here on the set are canvases. So if you are interested in getting a Terrence Fogarty piece, some pieces sell out in literally days. Others take weeks or months to get sold out, but you can attribute that to great art and very small edition sizes. The piece here, Rats on the Rainy, is one of the few pieces that you've done limited editions and posters of. Tell us a little bit about what the posters, why posters on this piece.
Well, the Wild and Fox Sports North, because this was commissioned for this specific event, what they wanted was something to give to the fans as a memento of the day, and I agreed with that and thought it was a great idea. They produced several thousand posters that were given away at the Gophers Pioneers game that day, and then later on at the Wild Dallas game that evening. And those lucky enough to attend the game got a poster and were able to bring home something to remember the day. And this may or may not be a tradition that happens every year at this point, but there had been some talk of that. So it's kind of a collectible piece. But once the posters were gone, obviously there was a lot of call, especially from the Baudette area, where can I get this image? So I did a piece, a signed copy, a signed print on a little better paper, and more of a fine art piece that I'm selling, through your gallery and some other galleries. And it's the same image, except this one is signed. It's on archival paper. It's something that'll probably last a little longer than the poster, but the posters, you framed up a couple of those for some clients, and they look great as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to frame stuff, and that has everything to do with preserving the piece. We have a machine that we can take a poster and actually laminate it to make it look like a canvas, and that's how we've done a lot of these, is that people chose to laminate them and try to make them look like the giclée here that's on the set. The giclées that Terry does he prints them approximately the same size as the original oil paintings, and a lot of us don't even get a chance to even buy a Fogarty original because they get sold or commissioned beforehand. But owning a Fogarty giclée is really the next best thing to owning one of Terry's originals. This particular image, though, I do have a handful of posters available for the viewers here watching the show. We give them free to you. The only requirement that we ask is that you buy a Fogarty print. Anything with Terrence Fogarty's name on it, you can shop on our website, www.artbarbarians.com, or stop by our showroom up in Rogers, Minnesota. We're open